Welcome to today's by request yoga video. This is going to be a yin-yang flow. We're going to blend yin and yang because as a yoga teacher and a clinical psychologist, I know that our bodies need different things at different times. So we will start with a gentle standing yoga flow, and then we'll come to the floor for deep supported yin poses. We'll also be using prop supports in both sections, blocks during the standing portion and a bolster during the yin portion. Let's get started with our yang gentle flow. Step to the front of your mat, have your blocks in front of you, and find your strong mountain pose, your standing pose. Your feet are somewhere under your hips, whether closer together or wider apart. Your hands are by your sides to start. And we'll start with some spinal stretches, a few gentle cat-cow flows by softening the knees a little bit, placing the hands on the top of the thighs. As you breathe in, let your chest come forward, tailbone back. You might even lift your chin a little bit and look up. And then as you exhale, chin dips, chest rounds, finding a standing cat pose. Let's repeat that twice more. In breath, expansive across the chest. Feel the spine stretch. Out breath, release. Form your C curve. One more. In breath, expand. Feel the breath nurturing you, warming up your body. Exhale, round. And then gently help yourself back to standing. We'll move into 3 sun breaths, warming up the upper body and shoulders, right into three half sun salutes, and that's where you might want your blocks in front of you. Okay, hands by your side. We're going to coordinate the breath with the movement, breathing in, palms up, reaching up, expanding into air, looking up if you desire. Exhale, palms down, floating your hands down. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach up. Grow taller, not just in your arms, but from your feet through your waist all the way up. Exhale, hands and arms float down. Last one. Breathe in, feel yourself expanding. Widen the shoulder blades on the back. Reach up, look up. Exhale and float down. Then we're going to start this next one the same way, but add a forward fold. Breathe in, reach up tall. Exhale, soften the knees like we did before. Swan dive, folding forward. Hands come to the top of the thighs or to your blocks. Let yourself hang for a moment. Keep your knees bent for this first one, giving your hamstrings a chance to warm. Inhale, slide your hands up to your legs for a halfway lift, letting the crown of your head move away from your tailbone, lengthening the spine. Take another breath here. Exhale, fold forward, find your blocks for a moment. And then on your next inhale, root your feet into the ground. Go back up really tall, extended mountain with your arms. And if you like, hands can slide down to heart center. 2 more like that. Breathe in, reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold, float into your bend. Find a half lift on your inhale, letting the spine grow even longer. Exhale and release. Inhale, the strength of your feet, your grounding lifts you up tall. And exhale, hands come back down to center. On this one, we'll stay down and then we'll move from there. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Come up into your half lift. And then exhale, be sure to find the blocks or the floor. You can take them a little wider if you'd like. We're going to step back with your right foot. I step my left a little forward. So step back and form a nice long lunge. Just like we did in halfway lift, we'll start here by letting the crown of the head and the tailbone move away from each other. I'm keeping my gaze down and a little in front of me on the mat. One more breath here. And then on your exhale, lower the back knee, place the hands in the hips, and come to your upright low lunge. Now feel free to make your feet a little wider so that you feel strong and stable here. Do whatever you need to do to have that sense of grounding first. And then we're going to take a lateral stretch, a side stretch. So your left hand stays on the top of your left thigh, right arm reaches up tall. Remember that tallness that we got all the way down to our base in our extended mountain. And then with the stability of one hand on your thigh, start to find a sideways lean, stretching the rib cage, the area between the ribs all along the right. Breathe in and reach back up, hand comes down. We're going to pivot on that back knee, so take like a half turn toward the right. Your opposite foot comes a little bit behind you, maybe off the mat, for a kneeling warrior two pose. And again, I'm scooching my feet because I want to stay stable. My foot is kind of in line with my knee, but it can be a little bit more off at a diagonal. Raise your arms up, finding a warrior two pose. Gaze over your front hand. If you like a little movement in your shoulders, you can let your palms come up, letting that movement twist your shoulders a few times. And then keep the front palm up, back hand comes down to your opposite hip or thigh, a little reverse kneeling warrior. Exhale back up, spin your body back around to front. You might have to scooch that foot. Let yourself lean forward, find your blocks, tuck your back toes. Now you can either step directly forward to switch, or if you want to switch by going through plank for a moment, step your front foot back, find a little core strength in your plank, and then step your opposite leg forward. Either way, we're repeating the same thing on the second side. So we find our long lunge first, reaching the back foot away, letting the hips drop if you can. So getting into this low lunge a little bit more, stretching across the front hip flexor. We're going to address that area more in our yin poses. And then settle the knee back down. Find your way up to your upright lunge. Take a moment here. All right, breathe in, reach up the left arm this time, tall, long line on your left side. And then find a bend to your right, a lateral bend. I'd love to hear if you tried yin yang. Maybe let me know at the end what you prefer. Come back up. This is when we do that little half turn, turning this time to the left. Back foot tucks behind us a bit. I'm just going to scooch my front foot a little more center to set up for my warrior two, kneeling. Wide arms reaching. Strong legs forming my foundation. Wide arms stretching. If you'd like, you can take a few shoulder rolls again. And then leave the back palm up. Front palm comes down to your back thigh. Reach up, find your reverse kneeling warrior. One more breath. Exhale, raise back up, turn to the front of your mat. Come around and find your blocks, tuck your back toes. And then this time we're going to step the front foot to the back, finding our all fours pose. So front foot steps to the back. Now you can keep the blocks on under your hands if you want. We're moving into a transitional section, moving from our standing work to our floor poses. So we'll find a few kneeling cat-cows here. The blocks under the hands simply provide the opportunity to experience this pose a little differently. Maybe feel a slightly different stretch. You can also do it without the blocks, setting your two blocks aside and finding a few cat-cows without the blocks. Notice what your body is experiencing so far, if it feels warm, if your mind is feeling ready to settle down into the yin poses. And then bring your toes together, widen your knees, sit your hips back. we're going to move into a child's pose. So child's pose is something we see both in Hatha and in Yin Yoga. Again, this is part of our transition. We'll walk our hands forward, trying to keep the hips back as much as possible. If you want to do an upright crouching child, that works really well to try to be into your body here. You can also bend your arms and come more into yourself. Feel your body preparing for that transition, finding some ease here. Then place your hands, walk your body up. Take a breath, sigh it out. So now we are going to prepare for our longer, deep yin hold using the bolster. I'm going to start with the block right in front of us for a yin Sphinx pose or a yin seal. Sphinx is another pose we see in both Hatha and in yin. The yin, you have your choice of which one you want to do. Coming up to your knees, I start with the bolster like right at the area of my hips or maybe even lower. I'm going to lie my whole torso out over the bolster. Now, Sphinx pose, you may be familiar. Your elbows are down. You're forming that section of the Sphinx. It feels so lovely to do with a bolster underneath because the back can release and start to stretch the front. And I can do it this way without much constriction or anything hurting in my back. For seal pose, you start to lift up onto straight arms. You can turn the fingertips out a little bit like a little seal. Now, for either of these poses, you can choose to have head support. So if your blocks are still nearby, you might choose to build up your blocks a little bit, maybe have them right somewhere at the area of the third eye, and find this extra head support in your pose. As we hold for a few minutes, I'm going to be holding in my seal pose. I just love this version of the bolster. It feels so delicious to me. I'm pressing into my hands enough so that I can feel some stretch in the front. That's our target area. Back bends, even supportive ones like this one, targets our front. Because I have some weight bearing on my arms, I'm also stressing some of the tissues of my arms. That's just a little bonus in this pose. And then I can also feel some compression in my back, the tissues in my back pressing together. That is a desirable sensation as long as it isn't painful. That compression is not hurting or feeling like a sharp, stinging sensation. Those are the types of sensations we want to avoid in yin. Notice your experience here as you find your last few breaths in this pose. One more complete in-breath and out-breath here. All right, and then use your hands to help yourself up. Come back up to your knees and turn your bolster so that it is facing the horizontal direction in front of you for our sleeping swan pose. Now we're going to step the left foot forward over the bolster in a lunge. This pose will look familiar because we know it in Hatha as half pigeon. But again, I love doing it in a supported way with the bolster. So once you have your left foot in front of you, scooch the foot over a little bit to the opposite side of the mat. Let the knee externally, well, it's the hip that's externally rotating, so the knee moves toward the outer edge. That is the action of our swan pose. Now you have a choice here. You can stay upright in your swan pose. Maybe your hands fit nicely on the bolster. Keep your blocks nearby, and perhaps you can come up on the blocks. Or you can do what we call sleeping swan and come forward using the blocks or not, letting your body release. So I think for today, I'll stay upright. It gives me a better chance to gauge how you're doing out there. Remember that in yin yoga, it's the holding for time that does the magic. So unlike in more yang forms, we're not trying to immediately go for maximum sensation. In fact, we want to back off a bit from maximum sensation, stay about in a 50 or 60% range so that we're able to comfortably hold for the time in the pose. Or the other common explanation is the idea that it's a marathon, not a sprint. If we were going for the sprint, we would expend all our energy in the pose in the first 2 minutes. In a marathon, we allow our effort to be stretched out over time. We don't need to breathe in any particular way in the poses. If you are familiar with a certain type of breath like ujjayi, which is that soft sound in the back of the throat, that might help you stay focused in your poses. So you could take some breaths in ujjayi. You might also simply choose to observe the breath. Breathe in, feel the breath moving in. Breathe out, feel the breath moving out. We'll practice a little bit more breath observation on side 2 of this pose. For now, we're going to start to ease our way out of it. If you were down in sleeping swan, take yourself back up, lean back on the bolster, find your way back to your lunge, and then you can swing your leg around. You're always welcome to pause for a moment if your body needs a little bit more transition time between poses. Pause me, take your time to notice and observe. I'm going to head on to the second side. So left foot comes forward, finding the lunge. And then I start to scooch the foot over to the opposite side so that I can let my shin come down. Exactly where it lands doesn't matter. Nothing is illegal in yin. My back hip flexor is coming toward the bolster. The glutes of my same leg that I have forward are supported. We always take a moment or two for the setup in yin to make sure it is comfortable, knowing we're going to be sustaining for a period of time. And then once we're here, settle in. And we'll start again with a breath observation. So this time, see if you can pick up the sense of pause between each element of the breath. So notice when you breathe in, there's a little pause at the top of the in-breath, not forced, just a natural pause. And then when you exhale the air out, there's just that little split second pause before the next breath flows in. Try that a few rounds on your own, noticing the in-breath, pause, and then the exhale, pause. Remember that you can be down in sleeping swan if you prefer, which just means adding a forward fold to this swan pose. Regardless of the version of the pose, the target area is somewhere in the outer hips and the glutes. Although, of course, there might be other places we feel it, like the hip flexor on the back leg. And just as I said when we were in our back bend, all of those sensations are perfectly welcome in yin, so long as they are comfortable and tolerable within that limit of sensation that we can hold for time. If anything starts to become so strong that it's distracting, that it feels sharper, or it feels like it's pinpoint type of sensation, we're getting into perhaps yang and perhaps even pain, both of which we want to try to take out of our yin practice. Last in and out breath. And then once again, gently use your hands. I'm going to use my hands on the blocks to give myself a little lift. We're moving into our last yin pose. You can set your bolster aside, although you still might want to use it. We'll sit down for this pose. You can also be sitting on a blanket if you find that when you sit, you're tending to round your back or it's not comfortable on your back. Taking my legs wide. Again, you might know this pose from Hatha. In Yin, this is called dragonfly. So we find a comfortably wide position for the legs. They do not have to be straight. They can be bent. Feet can be open or closed. Remember, Yin is an exploration of your own body. So find the position for your feet, your legs that gives you a sensation that you desire. The main target area is here in the inner thighs. We'll have the option of coming into a forward fold, bringing some of the target area into the low back, so you choose. This pose can stay upright, or if you want to forward fold, here's where I like to bring in the props. Depending on your range, you might be able to build a little block tower of the appropriate height for you. I find that sometimes in the first minute or so of this pose, I need to hold up a pretty high block tower. But then maybe as my body settles in, I can shift and lower the blocks. A bolster also works great. I love the bolster on the edge. It's kind of a unique way to use the bolster. It might stay, you might have to hold it with your hands. Now again, in the beginning of the pose, I usually have to use my hands to help with the prop. But then as I hold it, I sometimes can settle in, maybe reach a little more further. So find your comfortable position for these last few minutes of this pose. As you observe your breath in and out, knowing that we're moving toward the end of the class, at this time you may wish to add an extended exhale breath. So an out breath that is longer than your in breath. It might be a beat or two longer than the in breath. Or you might find that you're able to breathe out for up to double the in-breath. Find your own pace. As we're doing this mindful practice, we don't expect our thoughts to stop, disappear, be totally quiet. And yet our best hope is that there's a bit less busyness to our thoughts. And perhaps when we're distracted by a thought, rather than following that whole train of thought, we bring ourselves back to our bodies, back to our breath. Let's find about 3 more breaths together here. Breathing in and out through your nose. And then help yourself up. Once again, you can set your props aside. Draw both legs in. They can stay out in front of you, come into a butterfly or a cross leg shape. We'll finish here with a brief seated meditation, focusing with a mudra. So if you take your right hand, I'm not mirroring this time, place your first finger and your thumb together. That's jhana or wisdom mudra. If you take your left hand, place your thumb and your first finger together, that is chin or consciousness mudra. We place the two together, right hand down, left hand up. This is our yin yang mudra. We use these final few breaths in this class to center on how your body feels now. Identify anything from today's class that you would like to take with you in your daily practice of life off the mat. I so appreciate you being here. I'd really love to know what you thought of this first yin yang practice that I've ever done for YouTube. Please comment below and I will comment back. Enjoy the rest of your day.